Welcome everyone to Superintendent's Corner. I'm Dr. David Clendenning, and today we're going to talk about an exciting thing that just took place in our district, and that is the naming of Union Elementary as a four-star school in Indiana. With me in the studio are Mrs. Cindy Mappus. She was the principal at Union last year, and then we have Miss Sandra Brown, who serves as the principal of Webb and Union. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's happened in the past and what we're doing in the future as we talk about the four-star school status. So welcome, ladies. Thanks for being leaders in our district. We're going to start off with you, Cindy.
Okay.
When you heard the news that we got a four-star school in our district, what were your thoughts?
Oh, I was so excited. We worked so hard. We did a lot of different things last year that we were not sure about when we first implemented them, but it just kind of reassured that we went in the right direction. So we were so excited.
And I know, Sandra, you got to be the one to be with the staff when they heard the announcement. What did everybody feel in that moment?
You know, I think there's just it's kind of a humbling experience. But you know, you're so proud of the work that you've put in for a long time, and definitely the work that Cindy had put in place with her staff. So it was just a joyous time.
Let's talk a little bit about that work. What has been going on in the years leading up to this? I know you were a four-star in like 08 or 09, right? And then we have it again. What was going on during those years to continue to drive forward?
Well, the biggest thing we did last year was departmentalize.
Okay.
We had K1 all the way K through 4, and we departmentalized the entire school. So that meant that the teachers would teach one subject and specialize in that subject. So like in K1, we had one teacher do all the language, one do all the reading, and then another one do all the math. So the teachers could specialize in that subject, and the students actually moved to different classrooms, which we were a little leery about, especially with the little ones, but it really paid off because we saw our highest growth in NWA and Dibbles in K1, and then the high scores in ISTEP for 3 and 4. So that was the biggest thing we did. Incorporating win time, dedicating when is what I need, so giving extra help to those students on what actually they needed to work on. We really hit the Compass Learning Lab hard, especially after our NWA testing in winter. Just dedicated teachers that are committed to high standards and a great staff, and the kids work really hard.
Yeah. I know one of the things that also took place is that Mrs. Mappus actually had a small group for intervention herself right in the morning. For 20 or 30 minutes to help boost kids. So even though it's a small school, you don't have a lot of extra hands.
No, that's true. That's true.
That you guys still found a way to get it done. So that's awesome. Ms. Brown, talk a little bit about what's happening this year. Well, what are you doing this year to continue to sustain that?
Well, we've tried to stay focused on all those good things that they've been doing, because obviously when something works, you want to maintain that. We do have new curriculum for reading this year with our benchmarks in grades 3 and 4. And then our K1-2 has the Super Kids program. So we've been focused in learning new curriculum and developing that and just implementing that with fidelity. I think that's an important part. And then the continuation with our PLCs. And we've really worked hard at working across the grade levels because you begin then to look at the data and identify those kids who need something else or that didn't work. And so really focusing in on what every child needs. And I think that's kind of where we have been this year.
I should probably back up and tell our audience, four-star status in Indiana means that you're in the top quartile for English and math. Used to be attendance and some of those things, but they've kind of moved away a little bit from that to really focus on achievement. And so Union can be very proud that they stand toe-to-toe and as tall as all the other schools that are four-star. When you think about the future, both what's happening at Union and our other district, how do we help others get to four-star? How do we sustain it? I'll leave that we'll start with Miss Brown.
It is a commitment, and I think we have the best teachers in the state of Indiana, in our district. And I think their dedication and their hard work just is sending our scores up. I mean, we see that all the time as we meet as a district. We see that we are gaining ground and we are on the right track. So I think that common sharing, not only within the building, but amongst our schools has really been the greatest thing that's happened.
And the same too, now I'm at CBIS, and we've really hit the Compass Learning hard this year at CBIS, where it wasn't as ramped up before, but now we have a lot of interest in that. We're having some drawings. We're having a big drawing for Holiday World tickets, so the kids are all excited about that. But we have win time in the morning, we have a pause time in the afternoon, 40 minutes of just specialized learning and enrichment for those kids and what they need. And they're getting that help, and our PLCs are very strong, and like Ms. Brown said, it's just working together, dedicated staff.
You know, I think the thing that I'm always impressed with is, as I talk to the building principals, they're always looking for that focus, but how can we make it better? And I know that next year you guys are going to add a writing class,
Right.
but unfortunately you're going to probably steal one of the best teachers from Union. But talk a little bit about when you guys are deciding to make those changes, when you've had success. What goes into that for you as the leader and also for your building?
I want to say that, you know, when teachers take on a new challenge, I'm always about that, because that just develops them as a better professional. And so, you know, as hard as it is to lose good people, I know they're still in the district, and I know they're still doing good things for kids. And so I like to encourage. I like to encourage growth. We encourage growth in our students. We also need to encourage growth in our staff.
Yeah, well, when we had a retirement open up and an exploratory opportunity, we decided to focus more on writing. We think that's an area that it's a difficult area, and it's hard for teachers to fit into the language. And I had an excellent person in mind that I kind of recruited. And this way, this person can reach all of our students at Custer Baker. And it's not just one single class. So I feel like it'll be helping in the long run. So.
Well, an education researcher, Harry Wong, said, steal everything you can. So we're seeing it play out. But really, it's really trying to steal what Union's doing from their 4-star status to help all of us. When we look at data, I know that you guys really drive home on data, both with NWA, M-Class. Talk a little bit about what you do inside your teacher meetings, or we call them PLCs, professional learning communities. What do you do to ensure that the data really speaks to the teacher and helps to make that course of action?
We have, at our PLC meetings, our teachers get together and actually have data tracking sheets that they get together and put students' names so they can actually see where the students are and chart their growth. And then those are the students we target at win time that pull out and get the extra help, and then they can retake those assessments for those essential learnings until they pass them. And it's just been huge. And some of the teachers are fighting over the kids because they all want them, every subject. They want to help get their scores up and get these kids, you know, learning the skills they need.
That's awesome. And how about at Union?
Well, and I would say we've been in a different circumstance this year with me having 2 schools, and some of the Union teachers have actually partnered even with web teachers, so that there's just more ideas, there's more time to share and collaborate, and that, I think that's been a win-win for 2 schools. I think spending that time, and like I said, because Union is small, we do need to work K through 4, and we need to bridge all those gaps for each child. So it really is taking a look at the data and asking what's working, what's not working. You know, what are we doing for these students who aren't getting it? What are we doing for those students who are achieving? And making a plan and working together to carry out that instruction.
Yeah, you mentioned 2 of the main questions that we try to ask is kind of, what are we doing? And if they're not getting it, what are we going to do? And if they are, what are we going to do? And I think both of you have created opportunities both in your enrichment and remediation time in the building. As you think about the future, for us as our district, how do we sustain what we're doing? Because we're on a roll, things are going pretty well, but we also have external forces that cause stress, which cause the creation of split principles and all kinds of things. How do we sustain what we're doing?
I would say that I've worked in this district since 1986, so that kind of dates me, but a lot of things have come and gone. We have dedicated as a district to kind of stay the course on some things. And one of the things being professional learning communities, and that's the collaboration of our teachers. And I really feel that that has been a strong gift to our district. Just kind of staying the course and not just changing with the whim of the state and federal mandates. But really staying focused and staying student-centered and what's best for every child. And if you are any person in Franklin Community Schools, you know that that's just kind of our MO, and I really think that's what we have to continue doing. We also hire some of the best people and retain some of the best people. As we saw last night at our recognition dinner, we have teachers who stay the course and are true and loyal to Franklin schools. So that's kind of the things that come to my mind.
I agree. That's PLCs pretty much run our building. That's our focus, and everything revolves around that. And it's just been very powerful for me to see going from the smallest building to a big, huge building and how well they work together. It's just wonderful. The people, the staff, they're just awesome.
You know, I know that a lot of people talk about size in school and make a difference. And I think that you do see at Union Elementary that size matters. It matters in many ways, not just on that personal touch, but you also don't get everything because of that. You know, the resources aren't available, so you have to become creative. Talk about probably your most creative endeavor because of the size that helped get you to 4-star.
I think the departmentalizing was our biggest thing, was because it just took them out of their comfort zone a little bit, and it was hard for some of the parents. Oh, my kindergartner's going to be going upstairs to 3 different teachers, and that was hard. And it was hard for some of the teachers at first. They questioned it and weren't sure of their role, but after we dove into it and got rolling and saw some of our success on some of our testing, everybody was so on board, and it was just exciting. It was a little nerve-wracking at first, but I think that was the biggest thing that we did.
And you have to think, you know, I use this term a lot with you, the sky's the limit. And we're fortunate to work with Dr. Clendenning, who encourages us to think outside the box. What will work? Try something new. And so as we didn't really change anything this year at Union, I do think we have those opportunities to be very creative with the resources we do have.
Yep. Well, it's just a pleasure to work alongside outstanding leaders. It's also a pleasure to see one of our schools be recognized for all their hard work, because so many times it goes unnoticed. And what the state thinks is important doesn't always jive with what we think, but in this case, it does. And we just want to say congratulations to both of you being the leaders of that school, and to the teachers, and to parents, and the kids. A job well done, and we'll look forward to more successes in the future. As we're going to wrap up this segment, any other thoughts or words of wisdom about 4-star?
I was glad they took attendance out because that really hurt us for many years. But I'd rather it focus on academics. So.
No, as we come to an end of another year, I think we're going to see some more success with our schools, and not only at Union, but with our other schools as well. So I think this district is truly on a track from good to great.
If we peek inside the data right now, we're definitely seeing that. So that's pretty cool. You've been watching Superintendent's Corner with Ms. Brown and Mrs. Mappus. Thank you. I'm Dr. David Clendenning, Superintendent of Franklin Schools.